In early 1945, the U.S. military faced a critical problem in the Pacific Campaign. The island of Iwo Jima, a strategic Japanese stronghold, was heavily fortified with deep tunnel networks, reinforced bunkers, and camouflaged machine gun nests. Traditional weapons and infantry tactics were failing against the entrenched Japanese forces. One of the most dangerous roles in the assault was that of portable flamethrower operators. These Marines, carrying 100-pound units with only 7 seconds of fuel, faced a 92% casualty rate. Their tanks made them immediate targets for Japanese snipers, and most died before reaching their objectives. To address this, the military sought a safer and more effective method of deploying flamethrowers. In May 1944, at Scofield Barracks in Hawaii, a secret project was initiated. A composite unit consisting of Navy Seabees, Army chemical specialists, and Marine tank crews was formed. Among them was Joseph Kissel, a 24-year-old electrician's mate from the 117th Naval Construction Battalion. Their task was to mount flamethrowers onto Sherman tanks, creating a more survivable platform to deliver firepower. After months of trial and error, Kissel and his fellow engineers succeeded. They developed a system called the CBH-1, installed on 8 M4A3 Sherman tanks. These were later designated by the Marine Corps as Mark I flame tanks and affectionately nicknamed Zippos by the troops. Each tank featured a high-pressure flame system capable of shooting burning napalm over 400 feet with a 270-degree traverse. The CBH-1 included over 1,000 electrical connections, and Kissel personally wired everyone he knew. A single failure could cost Marines their lives. In February 1945, the 8 flame tanks were shipped to Iwo Jima. Kissel and his colleague, shipfitter J.T. Patterson, were sent with them for battlefield maintenance. Their assignment ensured the tanks remained functional under combat conditions. Upon landing, Marine commanders were hesitant to deploy the untested flame tanks, but by February 21st, the offensive had stalled and losses were mounting. The tanks were finally called into action. Kissel entered the assistant driver's position of a Sherman to support an attack on a fortified Japanese pillbox. The test proved successful. The flame tank's napalm stream incinerated the target in seconds. A position that had held out for 2 days was neutralized in 5 seconds. Marine units quickly recognized the value of the tanks, and requests for flame tank support surged across the battlefield. Each tank required extensive upkeep. Salt air, volcanic ash, and constant vibration caused corrosion, clogs, and mechanical failures. Kissel and Patterson worked tirelessly to repair and maintain the CBH-1 systems, often improvising parts using telephone wire or scrap metal from damaged tanks. Fueling operations exposed them to sniper and mortar fire, yet they persisted. In the following days, flame tanks destroyed dozens of fortified positions. Marines advanced more rapidly and with fewer casualties. Commanders soon refused to initiate assaults without flame tank support. Requests overwhelmed the limited fleet. Only 8 tanks were available. On February 23rd, Kissel supported a mission against a cave complex that had pinned down Marines for hours. In under 15 minutes, the flame tank eliminated the threat with minimal fuel and no additional Marine losses. Successes like this demonstrated the transformative impact of the CBH-1 equipped Shermans. The tanks became a central component in breaching the Japanese defenses. Kissel maintained them daily, often under fire, despite exhaustion and injury. He dislocated his shoulder after a near-direct hit, but returned to work within hours. By March, the flame tanks had been in constant operation for nearly 2 weeks. Their effect on the battlefield was undeniable. Casualty rates dropped by over 40% in sectors where they were used. Kissel continued maintaining the tanks while navigating fuel shortages, increased wear, and expanding demand. During the assault on the Meat Grinder, a heavily fortified area consisting of Hill 362, Turkey Knob, and the amphitheater, the flame tanks once again proved decisive. 4 tanks supported the attack. Within minutes, positions that had taken over 800 Marine casualties were captured with minimal resistance. However, the mechanical strain intensified. Some tanks developed pump failures and electrical issues that Kissel could no longer fully repair with the limited resources on hand. Despite the setbacks, they kept 6 tanks operational, continuing to support key missions across the island. A rare Japanese counterattack on March 7th tested the flame tanks under night combat conditions. Despite low visibility and the risk of ambush, 2 tanks were deployed. Kissel rode in one, monitoring the system by flashlight. The tank succeeded in halting the assault, saving hundreds of lives. Eventually, reinforcements arrived from Scofield Barracks, bringing new parts and trained technicians. Kissel finally had support after weeks of solitary maintenance work. He had pushed his physical and mental limits, but his efforts had kept the tanks running through the bloodiest stretches of the campaign. By March 20th, the flame tanks had destroyed over 370 Japanese positions across the island. They consumed over 140,000 gallons of napalm. Not a single tank had been lost to enemy fire. The flame tanks protected their crews far more effectively than the vulnerable portable units. On March 26, 1945, Admiral Chester Nimitz declared Iwo Jima secure. The Marines suffered over 26,000 casualties, including 6,821 killed. But commanders agreed the flame tanks were the most effective weapon in the campaign. One unit report described the tanks as the most important single weapon available. After the battle, Kissel received formal recognition along with the tank crews. He had participated in over 20 combat missions, working under fire to keep the tanks operational. His innovation saved thousands of American lives. The Marine Corps acted quickly on the success. For the invasion of Okinawa in April 1945, the 713th Tank Battalion was fully converted to flame tanks, 54 Shermans, all based on the CBH-1 design. These tanks operated for 82 days, consumed 200,000 gallons of fuel, and became the psychological terror of the battlefield. Japanese defenders often abandoned positions at the sight of them. Kissel's innovation reshaped U.S. military doctrine. His flame tank design was used not only in World War II but also in the Korean War, remaining in service until 1955. For over a decade, his system influenced the way America approached fortified enemy positions. The statistics remain striking. Portable flamethrower operators at Iwo Jima suffered 92% casualties. Flame tank crews, 12% casualties. Estimated thousands of lives saved through the use of flame tanks. Over 240 combat missions completed by Kissel's tanks during the battle. Joseph Kissel returned to civilian life after the war. His legacy, however, lives on as a story of innovation, courage, and relentless dedication. He identified a deadly problem, engineered a solution, and proved its value under the harshest conditions imaginable.